The largest meat-eating dinosaur ever found was not the T-Rex. It was longer than a school bus, taller than a house, and almost everything we believed about it was wrong. For 30 years, the only proof it existed sat in one German museum. Then, in one night, that proof was erased. The bones were destroyed. The animal vanished from the record. What we thought we knew came from drawings of something nobody could see anymore. So how do you study a monster that no longer exists? And what happens when new bones finally surface and reveal a creature stranger than the drawings ever showed? A predator built for a world of water. A dinosaur that should not be possible. In the next several minutes, you will learn the true story of this lost species. Not the version from old textbooks, the version the fossils now confirm. You will learn why it was hunted by history itself, and why each new discovery makes one of the greatest prehistoric mysteries deeper, not clearer. This is the river monster the world tried to forget. If that is why you are here, stay. The record is about to be rewritten. The story of this animal does not begin with the animal. It begins with a man digging in the Egyptian desert more than 100 years ago. In 1912, a German scientist named Ernst Stromer was searching the Bahariya oasis. He came looking for ancient mammals. He found something far older and far stranger. There were spines, tall, thin, bony blades, some nearly 2 meters high. They rose from the back of a creature no one had ever named. He called it Spinosaurus, the spine lizard. For the next 3 decades, those few bones were everything. The only physical proof that this ancient predator had ever lived. And then the world went to war. What happened next did not just damage a museum. It erased one of the most important extinct species ever discovered. The story you are about to hear is part history, part mystery, and part scientific resurrection. A lost species brought back from drawings and dust. To understand the loss, you have to understand how rare these bones were. Spinosaurus did not live where fossils are easy to find. It lived in a part of ancient Earth that is now the Sahara Desert. 100 million years ago, that desert was a vast river system. But over deep time, those riverbeds turned to some of the harshest ground on the planet. So when Stromer's bones reached Munich, they were treasure. The only known skeleton of one of Earth's largest ancient predators. For 30 years, scientists came from across the world just to see them. But Stromer was not a popular man with the people in power. He spoke openly against the Nazi regime, and he paid for it. As Allied bombs began falling on German cities, museums rushed to hide their treasures. Stromer begged the museum director to move his fossils to safety. The director refused. On the night of April 24th, 1944, the bombs found Munich. The museum burned, and the only Spinosaurus skeleton on Earth burned with it. The holotype, the single specimen that defined the entire species, was gone. Think about what that means. The one physical record of this prehistoric creature no longer existed. You cannot re-examine ash. You cannot scan smoke. But Stromer had done one thing that would save the animal from total erasure. He had drawn the bones, carefully, obsessively, from multiple angles. And those drawings survived. For the next 60 years, this was all anyone had. A handful of beautiful sketches of bones that no longer existed. But here's the question that haunted everyone who studied those drawings. What if the drawings were of something that never quite existed the way we thought? For decades, finding new Spinosaurus bones seemed impossible. A few teeth, a piece of jaw, fragments scattered across North Africa. Never enough to rebuild the animal. Never enough to answer the questions. Some scientists began to wonder if the original had even been real. One study suggested Stromer's skeleton might have been a mix of different animals. A ghost, a creature assembled by mistake. Then around 2008, the trail reopened in Morocco. A young scientist named Nizar Ibrahim was handed a small box of bones. They sat in a strange purple rock, streaked with yellow. He did not know it yet, but those bones would rewrite everything. Years later, in an Italian museum, he saw a partial skeleton from Morocco. It sat in the same purple rock, the same yellow streaks. He realized the two finds came from the same place, maybe the same animal. And to recover the rest, he had to find one man in the desert, a local fossil dealer he had met once, years before. After endless dead ends, he had nearly given up. Then, by pure chance, he spotted the man walking past a cafe. That single moment of luck reopened the greatest prehistoric mystery of the century. The dealer led the team back to the dig site, and the ground gave up more of the lost species. For the first time in 70 years, Spinosaurus was real again. If a lost monster clawing its way back from ash and luck pulls you in, you already know this is not the only buried story we chase. This channel goes where the record almost disappears. If that is the kind of dark you want, you know what to do. But what the new bone showed was the real shock. This was not the upright, T-Rex-style hunter from the old drawings. The legs were too short. The body was wrong. The animal made no sense on land. In 2014, Ibrahim and his team published their reconstruction, and the creature they revealed broke the rules of what a dinosaur was. It measured around 15 meters long, roughly 50 feet. That is longer than the largest T-Rex ever found by several feet. This was, by length, the largest predatory dinosaur known to science. But size was not the strange part. Its snout was long and narrow, lined with cone-shaped teeth built to grip fish. Its nostrils sat far back on the skull. Its hind legs were short and stubby, and its bones were dense, thick-walled, almost solid. That is not what you find in a land predator. That is what you find in penguins, in manatees, in animals that swim. Every clue pointed in one direction the ancient world was not supposed to allow. This extinct species did not just live near water. It lived in it. For decades, scientists pictured it standing in the shallows, snatching fish like a bear. Then, in 2018, the team went back and found the missing piece. A tail, nearly 80% complete. The most complete ever recovered. And the tail changed the entire story. It was not a stiff balancing rod like other dinosaurs. The spines along it formed a tall, flexible paddle. A fin, a structure built for one purpose, pushing a massive body through water. To test it, scientists built models of the tail. They placed them in tanks and measured the thrust against other dinosaur tails. The Spinosaurus tail produced far more power in water than any of them. The lead scientist called it the dinosaur equivalent of Jaws. For the first time, the evidence pointed to a truly swimming dinosaur. A river monster, propelled by its tail, hunting prey beneath the surface. And that single idea broke a wall that had stood for over a century. Because dinosaurs were supposed to belong to the land. Only the land. This one did not. And that raised a question scientists are still fighting over today. You might expect the story to end there. A clean answer. A solved mystery. It did not. Because not everyone agreed on what the bones meant. Some scientists argued the animal could not swim the way the team claimed. They said its body would have been unstable underwater. That at 15 meters long, it could not chase fish below the surface. In their version, Spinosaurus waited, like a giant, monstrous heron, standing in the shallows, striking from above, not diving beneath. The paddle tail, they suggested, may have been more for display than swimming. But here's what both sides agree on. Water was not a side note in this creature's life. It was the center of it. The dense bones, the fish-eating jaw, the paddle tail, all point to the water. This is what makes it one of the strangest prehistoric creatures ever found. It does not fit the rules. It sits in a category almost entirely its own. A predator that erased the line between land and water. And the deeper truth is harder to sit with. We are reconstructing this animal from fragments and from drawings of bones that burned. Every model is our best guess, built on a record that war nearly erased completely. Step back and look at the whole arc of this story. A creature larger than T-Rex, discovered, then destroyed, then found again. And each time it returns, it is stranger than the version before. The old textbooks showed an upright land hunter. That was wrong. The new bones showed a low, water-bound predator. That broke a century of belief. And even now, the smartest people studying it cannot fully agree on how it lived. Here is the part that should unsettle you. The single most complete original skeleton of this animal no longer exists. It was lost not to time, not to extinction, but to us, to human history. We did not just lose a fossil in that fire. We lost answers, direct evidence that can never be recovered. Everything we now believe is rebuilt from what survived by luck. Sketches, photos, scattered bone. So when you picture this river monster cutting through a Cretaceous river, remember that you're looking at a reconstruction of a ghost. An ancient predator we know almost everything and almost nothing about at the same time. Nothing about Spinosaurus was normal. Not its body, not its life, not even its death in our records. What we cover today is the story of a monster the record almost lost forever. But it is not the only giant that vanished from the ancient world under strange circumstances. There is another predator, not from the rivers, but from the open ocean. A hunter so large it makes this river monster look small. One whose true size scientists still argue about because so little of it survives. We go there next. If this changed how you see the prehistoric world, leave a comment with what surprised you most. Was it the size? The fire that erased it? The tale that rewrote the rules? Every comment tells us you want to go deeper. And we always go deeper. The record is never as complete as you think. Remember that.